Welcome into the Shambles Browns report. Cleveland's 1-1. Pittsburgh takes this one 26-22. I don't even know where to begin, honestly. Do you want to start with Nick Chubb, who's likely lost for potentially the whole season with a gruesome knee injury? Or Deshaun Watson? 3 turnovers, pick 6, scoop and score, and then a fumble at midfield. Or you want to talk about this defense? Once again, putting in one hell of an effort, limiting the Steelers' offense and Kenny Pickett, who sucks, by the way, to 12 points, and they come up empty-handed. There's so much to unpack here. The Browns not only lost on the field, they didn't just blow their first opportunity since last year to go 2-0 for the first time since 1993, but they also keep the Steelers kind of in the thick of things, get them back to 500 and 1-1. But let's talk with Nick Chubb really quickly, or talk about Nick Chubb, I should say. He left in the second quarter. I saw the replay that the TV didn't show from the side. It's ugly. It's gross. His knee bends in a way that knees are not supposed to bend, and I would be surprised if we saw him anytime soon. As for who's going to replace Nick Chubb, that's something we all got to kind of sleep on and regroup and come back tomorrow. Jerome Ford, I thought, played pretty well in his spot. 106 yards, nearly had a touchdown too, a 69-yard scamper. But I don't know if Jerome Ford is ready to be a bell cow back for this offense. There are a lot of free agents out there. Jonathan Taylor could be available for a trade. Andrew Berry is going to be busy. The next 24 hours, he is back at the office. But let's send some love to Nick Chubb right now. I know that he is hurting. I mean, not just physically, but he is an emotional rock for this team. And so to lose him for a long time, for the rest of the season, is that the tweet? Okay, well, I'm getting word in my ear that he's probably lost for the rest of the year, which we all sort of knew, and maybe by the time you're hearing this, you've already got that confirmed. But let's type 24 down in the comments section below. We're going to break down the rest of this game. Let's talk about Deshaun Watson. 22 for 40, 235 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. First things first, that DPJ no call at the end of the game, it was a missed call. I'm not even confident the Browns score a touchdown, though, if that is called, right? The Browns' offense in the second half, outside of a 69-yard run by Jerome Ford, never really got much going. So I'm not going to pin this on a blown missed call or no call. Watson continues to have half of the fan base split. And when I say half, I think it's starting to go towards 55-45, where the offensive line didn't do him a lot of help, but he also didn't do the offensive line a lot of help. He extended plays, he held on to the ball, he ran into traffic at times, but there were also lots of instances like that scoop and score, fumble, force fumble, where he just has a blind side hit behind him and Jed Wills doesn't touch Alex Highsmith at all, right? So it goes both ways. I can't wait to see some of the PFF grades on the offensive line after this game. But Jed Wills stunk it up. DeJuan Jones, for going up against TJ Watt, did probably as well as you could have asked. Ethan Posick had 2 holds. Joel Petonio and Wyatt Teller are, rock solid as always. Amari Cooper, for being a game-time decision, it looked like, he's Amari Cooper. He's the only good receiver this team has, it feels like. 7 grabs, 90 yards. Very little sightings of Elijah Moore. DPJ did absolutely nothing today. David Bell was this team's second-best receiver, for crying out loud. David freaking Bell. 3 grabs, 27 yards. Elijah Moore, 3 grabs, 36 yards. The receiving unit is not doing a whole lot of game-changing plays like the George Pickens touchdown, which we'll talk about the Steelers half of this towards the later portion of the video. But I when it comes to Watson, I know that the people that go box score hunting and catch some of the game are going to come out of this with I wouldn't say the lazy take, but maybe the easy, low-hanging fruit of Watson sucks and this looks like an awful trade for the Browns. Watson made a lot of good plays today. Make no mistake, he did, okay? He linked up with Amari Cooper on the sideline several times for clutch plays. He also had some bad plays. He did some good things with his legs. He extended plays, but he also had 2 really costly penalties. All in all, it was a bad game for Watson. Like the pick 6, I don't want to put entirely on Harrison Bryant because it was kind of floating away from him. But You got a hand on it. Should probably catch it. I don't know how you want to grade Watson tonight. I'd probably give Deshaun Watson a C, and that feels generous. I'd give him a C to C minus. It needs to get better. It has to get better. He had an opportunity to steal Cleveland's heart by coming back with a 2-minute drive to beat their arch rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he came up empty. Now, before we get to the rest of my post-game recap here, today's Browns Report is sponsored by AG1. Now, I have AG1 literally every day because the comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition is available at drinkag1.com/chatsports. I recently gave AG1 a try because I hated taking pills/vitamins and wanted a supplement that actually tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning, and it makes me feel ready to take on my day. It really helps me with starting my day on the right foot and getting into a healthier lifestyle. I start the day with making one great choice, AG1, and more healthy decisions follow. Covering my nutritional basis for the day also couldn't be easier thanks to AG1. All I do is mix a small scoop of AG1 with water, drink it first thing in the morning, and I'm done. I also like that it costs less than $3 a day, which is pretty good if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients, win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then AG1 is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/chatsports. That's drinkag1.com/chatsports. Check it out. That link is down in the comments and the description of today's video. Getting back to the rest of this post-game recap here, let's talk about the Browns defense, who deserves a lot of love. They stifled Kenny Pickett. 15 for 30, 222 yards, 1 touchdown, an awesome Grant Delpit interception, who, by the way, is Grant Delpit the second best player on this defense after Myles Garrett? He's right there with Denzel Ward. Grant Delpit might be the second best defender on this team. If you take away Pickens' huge 79, whatever it was, long touchdown reception, Kenny Pickett goes 14 for 29 for 150 yards and no touchdowns, which, hey, he made the play, good for him. But George Pickens, the Browns passed on him. They traded back to get Martin Emerson, and the guy's a problem. No Deontay Johnson, no problem. Throw to 14. I am terrified this is this Pittsburgh Steelers' new Antonio Brown, because he is on that path. 127 yards and 1 touchdown. All in all, Jim Schwartz and this defense, they did everything they could. The 26 is going to throw people for a loop, but it should read 12 points for Pittsburgh defensively allowed. The Browns gave up 1 touchdown on a blown coverage. Outside of that, there was no Steelers drive where they methodically moved down the field and capped off a 10-play, 7-minute drive, 75 yards for 7 points. No, they had a 55-yard Chris Boswell field goal, barely even got into his range for half of their field goal attempts. I'm telling you, this Browns defense, it is doing everything possible. What it can't do is prevent the other team from scoring on their defense, right? It can't prevent a pick six and a scoop and score. So Myles Garrett and Jim Schwartz, they are busting their ass right now. They need help. Myles Garrett did a good job of pressuring the quarterback. I know we never saw him get that marquee sack like he had last week against Joe Burrow, but he was flushing Pickett out of the pocket. Darius Smith was getting to the quarterback. Shelby Harris, Maurice Hurst, Dalvin Tomlinson. This defensive line was feasting. Denzel Ward, he had some nice plays. Greg Newsome, I know he left with an arm injury. Doesn't appear to be too serious. The rest of the secondary had a pretty good game altogether. Again, the 26 points, it's not the full story. It's 12 points for Kenny Pickett in the offense. The Browns come out of this game going, if we do not give Pittsburgh, we don't spot them 14 points, we blow the Steelers out of the water. But I feel like we're back to the Baker 2021 Ravens 4-interception game where the defense can literally only do so much. Like, do they have to score all the points too? Does Grant Delpit have to score on a pick six to try and actually win the game? So the defense, you just feel for them right now. Because 2 games so far, 3 points against Joe Burrow and the Bengals, 12 points against Pickett and the Steelers. They are doing their job. Kevin Stefanski's offense needs to get it together. If you want more coverage like this, by the way, consider subscribing. But we'll kind of wrap up with my final thoughts or two here. Stefanski, this is your offense, dude. Get it together. Figure it out. I know losing Nick Chubb in the second quarter is a major derailment to what your game plan is and what you want to do, but it's not like you didn't have success with Jerome Ford at times. He still provided sparks in the run game. Kevin Stefanski laid out a big plan to get Deshaun Watson, and at the end of the day, that big plan has not resulted in Deshaun Watson excelling thus far. We're still waiting for that game where everyone's in agreement that Watson is worth the $230 million and all the draft assets given up. We're not at that point, and we need to be at that point. We need to be there now. This is the kind of game where you need to be there. Prime time. Trying to go up 2-0 in the division. Keep pace with the Ravens. You know the Bengals are going to come back. You know the Steelers are never an easy out. And Stefanski in the offense dropped the ball. Just dropped the ball. So let's wrap it up with a super chat coming in from SOB here. We'll get everyone's thoughts, and then we'll get on out of here. How many people would prefer Baker and 3 first-round picks over Watson? At this point, it's not a bad question to ask. And I'm not going to give up on Watson, but I think it's not looking good. How about that? It's not looking great because that last drive had to be a touchdown. And I'd still take Watson over Baker, but the 3 first-rounders, yeah, that's definitely a wrench in the equation. You could have had Garrett Wilson on that team. So that's for another video, another day. But that's going to do it for us on this post-game show. Hit me up on Twitter at Matthew Petey, or don't. I'm too depressed to really even put much energy into this. Like everyone, I just want to go to bed and kind of cry myself to sleep. I really, really thought the Browns were going to be different this year, and they'd get out to a 2-0 start, which the season's not over. They're 1-1, and I'm kind of acting like they're 0-17. But 1-1, and you lost Nick Chubb, it feels like you're 0-17.